Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to From Model to Market, Business Planning Meets Marketing Strategy. My name is Tosh Brooks, and I am the Program Coordinator for U.S. Small and Medium-Sized Business Entrepreneurs at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. For those of you who may be new to us, the NASDAQ Center is a nonprofit dedicated to helping entrepreneurs access the knowledge, mentorship, and resources they need to start and grow successful businesses. Today's session is designed for founders who are actively building and growing their businesses. Whether you're still refining your business model, managing cash flow, expanding your customer base, or figuring out how to scale what you've already started, running a business often means making big decisions with limited time and resources. Our goals today with today's program is to share practical insights that can help you move your business forward with greater clarity and confidence. Before we dive in, I'm going to launch a few polls so we can get a sense of where everyone is in their journey. We use this feedback to help shape the programs and resources we provide for this global community of entrepreneurs. While you're answering, feel free to drop in the chat where you're joining us from today. We always love seeing the range of places founders are dialing in from. We'll also have live Q&A at the end of the session, so please feel free to submit questions anytime using the Q&A feature. And while the poll is running, I'd like to take some time to briefly recognize the partners who make these programs possible. The work we do at the NASDAQ Center is supported by organizations including NASDAQ, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, KPMG, Walmart, the Asia Innovation Hub, Wilson Sonsini, the Nareet Foundation, KKR, and BPM. Their support helps us expand access to resources and knowledge for entrepreneurs everywhere, and we're grateful for their partnership. Now, let's get started. I want to take a moment to look at the polls. The first one was, how are you feeling about your business? How are you feeling about your business? And it looks like we have about 65% of entrepreneurs on the call today are feeling optimistic, but we do have some that are surviving, anxious, and fearful. Thank you for showing up for your business today. And then our next question, what's keeping you up at night? What is keeping you up at night? Is it finance, sales, marketing, the scale, pivoting, team, or are you just focused on surviving? And as they roll in, it looks like we have about 26% focused on finance and sales, 26% focused on sales and some marketing and scaling. So without any further delay, please join me in giving a very warm welcome to our special guest, Sabrina Lowry, founder, marketing specialist, and Milestone Circles graduate and phenomenal mentor. Hi, Sabrina. Hello, hello.
Greetings, Tosh. Thank you so much for having me today.
So, Sabrina, we'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you can start your presentation and give us all of your wonderful goodies today.
Thank you. Thanks again to the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. I am affectionately known as the tech evangelist. I am a Jersey girl, born and raised. And then I moved to the South, went to the University of Florida. Go Gators to all my Floridians. And I want you all to know that I've been a geek all my life. So I graduated with my undergrad in IT, computers and information systems, which means I learned to code early on. Those ones and zeros are not a second language to me. That is a native language to me. And beyond college, I moved to Atlanta, where I started my career as a senior computer programmer and analyst. And when I transitioned out of corporate America to start my entrepreneurial journey, we are looking at 24 years of me running small businesses. I've bought and sold numbers of businesses. My primary business is in real estate. That is Legacy Realty and Management, where we specialize in residential sales, property management, short-term rentals, Airbnb co-hosting, and my newest title, investor. fixing and flipping houses for profit. That is what I was achieving during my milestone. And my milestone 3 years ago was to get my financial house in order to acquire my first property to renovate and sell. And look at us now. So I want you all to be encouraged that these milestones and these business plans do work as long as you remain diligent, committed, and push your way through. That's resilience, y'all. So let's get into the chat. I saw everyone here. I am here in ATL. I see we've got a number of places here. We've got North Carolina. We've got the East Coast representing. Where's my West Coast? I know we've got tons of you here today. So I am going to begin with my presentation. Let's go ahead and start our screen. I want you all to know you can Google me at any time, or you can find me on LinkedIn. And my website is sabrinalowryenterprises.com. So let's get started. How many of you are ready? If you're ready, say ready in the chat. Ready, ready, ready. I'm waiting for some readies. Okay, thank you. I see the engagement happening now. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So let's go ahead and begin the presentation. From model to market, I want everyone to know that it all begins with an idea, right? And so what I want you all to think about today is turning those ideas in your head into a tangible, funded, and fiercely marketed reality. Many of you have already used the milestone toolkit, a little show and tell, right? We've got those milestone mapping guides, we've got those resources. And if you're like me, I have my toolkit in a binder. And so, what that means is that I take this business planning seriously and that I can refer back to it, tweak it a little, rinse that thing, and repeat it. And that is exactly the strategy I want you all to walk away with today. If that sounds good to you, please put sounds good in the chat. So, what I would like to do in this session is help you identify that deeper why with establishing a 12-week goal by way of business planning. And a goal without an executive structure is just like a marketing engine. It's just like a wish. You just wish I had. I wish I could. I wish I would. But let's take these wishes and let's bring them into reality. So today we're going to build that bridge. I'm all about building. As a creator, building is key. We'll take those milestones, construct them into what I want to call investor ready business plans that are fueled with high and effective 12-week sprints for your digital marketing strategy. And then ultimately, this roadmap is something that's going to lead you to selling, ultimately retiring that business. So, as the saying goes, execution is the only strategy that you don't want to miss. So, let's get into it. Today, we want to focus on the execution, not just the strategy. We've got to birth these business ideas, and by doing so in a way that the customer sees you, comes back to you, and is dedicated and loyal. So we want to have the strategic vision of the modern entrepreneur in today's workplace. All right, so let's continue forward. What I want you all to think about now is your business plan. Do you have one? I want you all to answer in the chat. If you have a business plan, answer yes. If you do not have a business plan, say no business plan. All right. So, with all of those yeses in the chat, This is my first book, which was one of those rinse and repeats. They always say, you know, you're calling when someone asks you the same question over and over again. Well, this book you see on the screen is exactly that. My first book, titled The Entrepreneur's Blueprint for Digital Domination and Digital Dominance, excuse me, because we want to dominate our presence, not just online, but offline in a real way. And if you are interested in getting a copy of the book, it is available on Amazon. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat for kicks and giggles for those of you that want to play along. All right. And inside of my book, you will find templates, guides, resources, apps that you might want to integrate into your strategy. So let's continue. Let's continue. When you're thinking about your idea, when you're thinking about the market, when you're thinking about a business model, I want you all to think whether you are a service-based business or a product-based business, a written plan is still the best way to get your business started. So what we're going to do now is jump right in and talk about some ways that you can move forward for those of you that have a written business plan. So let's go back. Remember when a business plan was 50 pages long? We had to define the who, the what, the where, when, how, and all of the things. And we also need to, in this current day and age, outline our e-commerce options for our clients because not everybody does business in a brick and mortar these days, right? So I know there's a lot of text on the screen. Don't worry, you're going to get this information. I know y'all want it. So we want to show your investors that your business is a valid, true business, that it's not just a hobby. So let's continue this conversation, shall we? How do we show up? When you think about the traditional business plans, 25% of businesses actually referred back or even completed their business goals. That's a very low percentage. I like the second option in the agile planning space. Now we're ticking over that 50% mark because when you've got agile planning, you're able to do what along the way? Tweak it, make it relevant for what is happening in the business. And those people with agile planning structures are more successful. 60% of them are. And then lastly, what you're here for today, that AI powered toolkit where 92% of you will achieve your goal. So by leveraging AI in your business, you are able to make those adjustments along the way. You're able to schedule things and automate certain checkpoints along the way. And guess what? You can also use this plan in a very, very safe way. It says, what is the data source provided? This information is coming directly from Notebook LM. Thank you so much for asking. And all of my resources were derived from my research that I've done over time, over the years with my books and my businesses. So I hope that helps you with that. All right. And this is also a quote or a slide that I want you all to think about. A goal without the execution fails. You're going to build an executive blueprint. And this is something that can absolutely be evergreen. It does not have to be pen and paper. And you're going to use this to set up an exit strategy. Most businesses don't think about the exit strategy. Well, I was very intentional when I started my business, and my broker asked me, how long do you want to be a business owner? And what is your retirement plan? Do you plan on selling your business in the future? And just by having those questions asked in the beginning of my business, set the foundation for how I wanted to operate going forward. All right. Perfect. So let's continue. If you all are not following the NASDAQ Center on Instagram, this is one of the recent posts. I want you all to follow them and make sure you take a look at those resources. That arrow is pointing to the NASDAQcenter.org/resources. And that is where you'll find, remember, that milestone toolkit as one example. You'll also have access to several of the milestone mapping toolkits, along with several others. Capital Pathways, your pay plan workbook, your entrepreneur pitch toolkit, your intern ready workbook, and so much more. We want you all to know that these resources are available for you so that you too can have everything documented in one place. Thank you so much for dropping that link, Jillian. You're the best. So let's get to it. You all have been waiting patiently. That milestone mapping toolkit is a 44-page interactive guide with several key points that you should get organized, prioritize, and clarify along the way in your business. So when you think about a traditional business plan, you want to write the vision and make it plain. So I'm going to give you all some AI prompts that will work regardless of what level you are in for your business. If you'd like some AI prompts, I want y'all to put AI prompt in the chat. Let's go. Okay. So for the beginners, this is the challenge. You want to, number one, I've been asked before, do you secure the information that you are providing in the AI tools? Well, this is something that you can personalize. This is something that you can turn off the training models so that you are able to use these tools with a little bit of confidentiality. But again, I would not implement or input anything that's your intellectual property that you are copywriting and so on and so forth. You want to be very vigilant in that regard. If you are at the intermediate level for your business and now you're looking to scale, you're looking to market your business differently, these prompts are definitely going to assist you along the way. So I'm going to copy prompt number 1 into the chat. Here we go. Everybody ready? Prompt 1. Here we go. Paste and drop. Here we go. So what you're going to do in your AI tool is copy this prompt and insert where you are. I'm going to read this verbatim so that you all have it. And then when you're done with the class today, you'll be able to have a copy. There it is. Act as an expert venture capital consultant and CFO. CFO is acronym for Chief Financial Officer. Are you a beginner entrepreneur? Are you an intermediate entrepreneur or an advanced entrepreneur in the blank industry? So we want to define what industry you're in. The next statement says, my core business is blank. Now I want you to insert a brief description about what you do and who you do it for. And all that information is going to continue to build on the prompt. The next statement, guide me in drafting a formal investor-ready business plan. Help me define the core elements, the what, the who, the where, the why, the team, and the how. Then provide a structured outline for my financial projections and a quote, use of funds technology budget. Finally, suggest a checklist of legal protections I need to mention in the plan, like IP protections, personnel contracts, and a cap table to make my business highly attractive to institutional investors. Once you've got that prompt, I want you to say thank you so I know you got that prompt in the chat. Let me get a thank you. Are y'all getting this? Are y'all getting this? Oh, you're welcome, Kimberly. Okay, Lachelle, Priyanka, Felicia. Okay, I want to make sure y'all are getting these prompts because this is how you're going to transform an existing business plan, and we're going to level this thing all the way up. And so when you think about what that looks like, let's think about the shift that is about to occur. Okay. I'm going to demonstrate this live in a moment, but I want to continue forward so we can get through the content. And for anyone that is doing this activity as we speak, I want you to put in the chat that you've used the prompt and then possibly get to share this at the end during our recap and Q&A. All right. So someone says they can't hear anything, Pamela. I think everyone else on the call has good sound. You may want to check your settings on the audio in your Zoom. And if not, all else fails, go out of the webinar and come back in. You might have a Bluetooth on or something like that. Okay, thank you so much. Kendall says they can hear. So I feel that we're in a good space for the tech. All right. So here's the advantage of creating a business plan in 12-week sprints. So think about it as your quarterly review. If you treat 12 weeks as a full year, that's a radical focus for some businesses. And that's why the Milestone Circle program was so pivotal and powerful in my journey. And I'll tell you why. About 3 years ago, when I started the program running my businesses, I made an executive decision to become a real estate investor. I wanted to fix and flip houses here in the metro Atlanta area. Well, 3 years ago, what did that require? That required a business plan. What does it look like to become an investor? Where are the funds going to come from? How do I source those funds? Am I going to need a partner? Am I hiring folks? How am I hiring? Am I hiring employees? Am I hiring for an independent contractor status? So when you're getting through all of these decisions, you can eliminate what we call dead zones of stagnation. All right. We also allow this to break down over the course of a year in 3 months what might need to be repurposed or eliminated altogether. That's the faster execution that we want. So if you're thinking, let me execute faster with a plan, that's what this AI powered business plan is going to do with you, not for you. All right. Remember the difference. The human is still in the loop. So if we're compressing our 12 months into 12 weeks, we want to bridge these annual goals. We want to anchor them every quarter. And that also gives you the opportunity to break down these targets. That actually allows you time to review, because what I find is people with an annual business plan only review it once a year. But by now thinking of your plan in these 12-week sprints, the way the Milestone Circles program has done for us, I promise you, you will get the clarity you need. So here's the first thing we want to do. We want that annual anchor. You still want to determine what is that annual goal going to look like, whether it is in a projection, you want a certain income, you want a certain thing to happen like I did with purchasing the property. This is your planning pipeline. So then you want to divide these annual goals into 4 quarters. This quarterly process is where your 12-week sprint is really going to set the pace of execution. So I know the wording is very light and it is intentional. This is just to give you a visual matrix. If you are a beginner and you're thinking about your business plan, you may be thinking more funding, right? Let's think about that. Are you yet profitable, or are you still bootstrapping this thing? I was there. I know what that looks like. How often should you check in? Next level, If you are a business owner and you already have a business plan, you may need to just tweak it. We want you all to create a series of 12-week sprints. Create that weekly dashboard, and your AI tools are there to support you. And then lastly, if you're thinking about your advanced business plan, now you're looking for venture capitals and angel investors and things of that nature, you want to absolutely be ready. So, how do you get ready? In order to be ready for investors, you've got to structure a high level vision for them. You want them to know that this is a serious business, this is not just a hobby, and that you expect to give them a full return and then some on their investment. You also want to generate a SWOT analysis, all right, and tailor your specific level of your business. Are you a brand new business? Are you a 1 year old business, a 5 year old business, or a 20+ year business like myself? So the next slide is heavy on the text, but it is the 12-week execution that every entrepreneur needs. Boom. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now that we have the model that the investors will love, we need to market to sell it to, right? So annual goals can cause that mid-year stagnation that we talked about. So by dividing into 12 weeks, these are the phases that I want you to think of. Phases 1 through 5, all right? The deeper why, we remember doing this with our milestone setting exercise. How many of y'all remember that during milestone settings? Type deeper why in the chat if you remember doing that activity. Also, you want to draft your vision statement. This should align with your authentic self. This should absolutely spell out the business objectives. And lastly, define your change statement. Remember, we are problem solvers. If we don't tell the people what it is that we solve for them, then there is no business to be transacted. And this is whether, again, you are a service-based business or a product-based business. So here we go into phase 2. This is the execution blueprint. This is that written strategic plan. I want to give y'all some tools that I like to have fun with when I'm doing my plan. Canva is my #1 business planning tool because I like the mind mapping feature. My second favorite is Notebook LM. This AI platform allows me to feed all of my policies, procedures, my mission statement, my vision statement, my deeper why, my websites, my YouTube channel. Once I collect all of those sources in one place, Notebook LM AI tool allows me to do reports, draft charts. I can create videos. I can do audio. I can do slide decks for my pitch. And I can also create visuals like this infographic you see in front of you. So the content that was produced came from me, the information that I've shared. I put my old business plan in there, and voila. 5 phases of your business planning strategy. If you are having questions along the way, please use the Q&A feature on the toolbar of your Zoom, and we will take time for questions on the next segment. All right, phase 3, this is the bridge I talked about earlier, going from your macro to the micro and establishing those anchors and those quarterly OKRs, which is those objectives and key results. So I want you all to start thinking in 12 weeks, 12 weeks, every 12 weeks. What's happening? Is it good? Is it bad or indifferent? And that way, by the time you get to phase 4, that dynamic plan is where you get to rinse and repeat. Also, yes, absolutely, Canva is a graphic design tool, and Notebook LM is as well. So I toggle between both of them, Patty. Thank you so much. Next, you want to track your leads and log these indicators. These lead indicators are things like customers in your pipeline. Is your website working? Are you generating leads from your website? Are people calling you? And so on and so forth. And then move all the way to phase 5 with this check-in process. Every 12 weeks, you have to conduct your review and reset session. Identify any bottlenecks you might see, and then reset for that next 12 weeks. What questions? What questions? What questions? This should be helpful to all of you. And again, you will receive a copy at the end. So the AI prompt engine, as I mentioned, I'm about to drop these prompts for you all so that you can take your business plan and move into your business structure for 12 weeks at a time. All right. So we want the AI prompts, and here we go. Prompt number 2, act as a venture capital consultant. I am an advanced entrepreneur. Help me draft a formal proposal for, fill in that blank. Number 4, write a sharp value proposition. Number 5, highlight our market traction and milestone. And number 6, keep the tone highly authoritative. All right, if that is helpful, put prompt 2 in the chat. Prompt 2, prompt 2, prompt 2. We got it. Thank you so much, Reem. Thanks, Lachelle. Thanks, Victor. Thanks, Katisha. Okay, y'all, I want to make sure you're still rocking with me. So the next prompt that I am going to give you is for your market research as part of your business planning, right? So many of us have to do market research in order to figure out where we land for pricing and projections in our own businesses. So this prompt reads as follows: act as a market research analysis. Now I want them to generate comprehensive market analysis section. 3, target our specific B2B or B2C. Remember, you can change this. Number 4, analyze the current 2026 market trends, and you can put your industry. Number 5, compare our business to generic incumbents. And lastly, generate that level specific SWOT analysis. If you like that, put prompt 3 in the chat, and I will give you the last one so that we can finalize the plan and move on into that marketing plan. All right, I see you, Crystal. Thank you, Betty, Felicia, Victor. Here we go. Let's move on. The next prompt says, act as a startup CFO. Structure my formal financial narrative. Define revenue drivers and costs. Present a 3-year financial projections clearly. Number 5, outline professional funds breakdown. And the last is to optimize for institutional investor review. Those are the prompts that you will use to complete your business plan. Once you have your formal business plan, that document will produce a number of variables that you can absolutely customize. You can change along the way, but I want you all to remember the process should be every 12 weeks. So I want you all to be mindful of that. Thank you so much, Crystal. I'm glad that you're finding value with this information and especially these prompts. All right. Yes, the 12-week year. That's right. All right, everybody. So let's move into how do we market this thing? Now that we've got this business going, we want to make sure that it is marketable, right? Not just from our online marketing, but we might do some traditional marketing as well. That may require some different iterations. So these are some visual slides just to give you the mindset of the framework for your marketing strategy. Okay. So you want to, of course, go back into the report where you did your market research. That market validation is there. Then you may have a soft launch. The slide calls it a pilot, right? That soft launch may be to a select number of individuals that you know, like, and trust. Get their feedback. And then that way, this is during your foundation period. You want to make sure, is the website working okay? You got your virtual assistant testing all the buttons and links and making sure things are moving along. You want to have that pitch deck ready for the investor. Are you bootstrapping or are you requiring some funding from a third party? Whatever that looks like for you, that is a solid basis for your foundation. The reason you want to have this solid foundation is because remember I talked about being able to rinse and repeat every 12 weeks? That is exactly the way we will get to our next level. And so you're going into quarter two. Now the traction is happening. Remember, it takes about 12 weeks to form a habit, is what I've been told over the years, right? And so if you go to the gym for 12 weeks, you should begin to see some results. If you start working on this business plan and checking in weekly for 12 weeks, you should begin to see results. And this is the chance for you to now optimize and potentially scale for your next quarter. Now, I love the next session that talks about delegation. How many of you actually have team members, a virtual assistant, a human, or is AI your assistant? Type assistant in the chat, because a number of us are solopreneurs. I had a session today with my group every Tuesday. I do a live office hours. Y'all can find me on Mentor Makers. It's called Chat, Chew, and Check In with Sabrina Lowry. And I've done this because I find that by showing up once a week for my mentees and those in the platform, they're able to get the strategies they need, connect with those that might become an accountability partner. And that happened today. Then we have those solopreneurs that are doing it all on their own. And that's why they show up, because being able to come to rooms like this with like-minded individuals that are going at different levels, we can all learn from each other and grow together. And then that brings us to that fourth Q. This should be the peak. This is where we're achieving these milestones and these goals and hitting these targets and benchmarks. All right, I see a lot of solos. I knew I wasn't alone. So yes, AI is my entrepreneurial assistant, and I love it. It's the cheapest hire you will ever buy. Okay. So here's a snapshot of what the 12-week sprint should look like. I already mentioned there's that stagnation. We don't want to get stagnant. We want to ensure that our year goes smoothly. We've got those tactical sprints. We're dividing into phases and we're focusing on one milestone at a time. And that's why when you all get to graduation and you'll hear them talk about setting another milestone when you complete the program, you'll start to get clarity on this mindset shift. All right. Questions, we're coming. I see there's some questions. All right. So let me get to the strategy. Here we go. What are we doing? We're going to build the digital house first with this marketing strategy. We're going to define our UVP, that unique value proposition. We're going to create those targeted customer or client questionnaires, those things that we need on rinse and repeat for onboarding and customer intake. We want to design a high converting landing page, maybe even offer some lead magnets, like here's a freebie for my email address and a name. Those types of things are absolutely business drivers. And lastly, you want to capture those leads free before paying a fee, which is buying ads. We all know what that looks like. But as long as your budget allows for that, you will be fine. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Now that we have the model now that we have a model that the investors will love, we will need to market to sell it to. I'm sorry, I advanced the slide and I did not mean to. There it is. So these annual goals, here's the breakdown. I want you all to think at phase one, that is that deeper why. The same way we used our milestone toolkit, this thing can be rinsed and repeated. We want to be able to take full control. We want to give signals and flags and what they call in tech triggers for that next step and that next phase. And then this is what is going to land you with that written blueprint, that executive strategy with those core elements defined, as we mentioned, the who, what, where, when, why, and so on. This also helps you with your team building because if AI is not the assistant that you need, you may need a true human in the loop. And so, does your budget allow for that? And if so, you want to be able to grow and scale. As you make money, you can grow and scale. Phase one of this plan is something that I'm very passionate about. I wrote about this in my book, The Entrepreneur's Blueprint for Digital Dominance. That is getting your business listed on Google. Ladies and gentlemen, it's free. It costs you nothing. I want you to go to gybo.com/business. Put that in the chat, okay? gybo.com. Get your business online. That's what it is. Once you get your business online using Google Maps tool, it will ask you to verify your business credentials. Once your business is verified, you now have another digital hub that can direct the consumers that are searching the web to your websites and your landing pages. Then you've got a system. You can market there. You can promote there. Someone says Google is hard to get on if you have other businesses. Felicia, I disagree, madam. I have multiple business. I'm happy to show you how to do it. And I tell you, it is not a problem at all. I've got a solution for you, and I'll be happy to share those strategies. I want y'all to go on X, formerly known as Twitter, so x.com, and follow the Google My Business page because that's how I was able to resolve those technical issues. Felicia, that might just be the tech tip you need with multiple businesses, all right? And now let's continue. Phase two is the automation. That automation is so key. Is your website automated? Do you have a chat bot? Do you have links? Do you have those things available for consumers to find you, book you, and so on and so forth? And then we want to get into this strategy. What platforms are you going to be on? You don't have to be on all of them. You can choose strategically with intention, knowing where your audience is. And then you want to write the content, create those visuals, and then you will be able to schedule all of these social media, digital media marketing platforms on a regular basis, 90 days at a time. I've done it. It works. I've hired a virtual assistant and their only job was to schedule the social media. And what did that look like? Around $300 to $500 a month if they are not in your industry. All right? Absolutely. Prompts 2 and 3, it's going to be in your handout, and we are coming short on time. So just stand by, Amethea. I see you there. All right. Let's continue forward. We want you all to leverage video in your social media marketing and your digital marketing and your overall marketing because guess what? These videos are now on Spotify. They're all over YouTube. You can get it on your local cable channels and pay those fees, but the power of video is tremendous. And then you can repeat those videos. You can embed those videos in your website and so on and so forth. And the next one talks about consistent live streaming. Ladies and gentlemen, that's something I love to do. You'll be able to catch me live on my podcast, Geek Talk with Sabrina Lowry and friends. And geek is an acronym for giving entrepreneurs expert knowledge. And why is that a part of my business plan? Because when the people that never heard from me, that didn't know who I was, didn't know what business I was in, this is my weekly opportunity for me to show up and record that content. And now it's on all of the podcast platforms. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So this is the rinse and repeat I'm talking about. I won't have to go back and redo these videos. I can just simply reshare them. I want you all to automate your digital marketing systems by using tools like canva.com, which does allow you to schedule. Go to metabusiness.com. That is a automation tool, and optimize your Google My Business profile by using AI. If it's only allowing 150 characters, but you've got a 2-page bio, honey, upload that 2-page bio and ask it to optimize it to 150 characters for your Google My Business profile. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? If you are, say yes in the chat. And lastly, we want you to be able to track those Google Analytics, embed that analytics code in your website. If you don't know how to do that, ask your webmaster or book a one-on-one with yours truly, the tech evangelist. And now, as we conclude with the 5 minutes I have remaining, I want you all to remember a great business plan is not just about starting, it's also about finishing. You've got a plan for your exit strategy from day one because who's to say you're going to live forever? Who's to say you won't have a disability along the way, an accident, or something that would cause you from being a part of your business? That has happened to me. Ladies and gentlemen, just saying, it's one car crash away from no business. Y'all get what I'm saying? Perfect. So we want you to think, are you going to sell the business? Maybe merge the business or step down for retirement. Your business needs to have sustained value that can function independently. So you're going to maximize that valuation for a future buyer by protecting those assets, that intellectual property, your systems, any personnel contracts you may have in place, like non-competes, confidentiality agreements, memorandums of understanding, to ensure that your employees don't walk away with your trade secrets or poach your customers. And then the fair pay for sustainability. We want to make sure that you have that. So here is the final prompt. Let me put that in the chat. We're going to ask our AI tool to act as a mergers and acquisitions advisor. I am building a business with the ultimate goal of selling it for my retirement in blank number of years. What strategic steps do I need to take today to maximize my company's future valuation? Specifically, advise me on how to safeguard my intellectual property with employee non-competes, confidentiality agreements, memorandums of understanding, and how to structure my operations so the business can run profitably without my daily involvement. Help me outline an exit strategy section for my business plan. If you like that, say like it. All right, so I see the hearts flying. I appreciate you all so much. I am going to give this opportunity for a little Q&A. The conclusion is let's proceed with clear intention, ladies and gentlemen. Just to recap, you've got to identify that top annual anchor. We're going to reduce the 12 months into 12 weeks. Divide those quarterly OKRs. Make sure you've got that tactical, rinse and repeatable business plan, and then focus every single week on those milestones. Because, ladies and gentlemen, execution is the key. So, when you execute actions to drive momentum, you will be successful. And the moment you've all been waiting for, there's the QR code for today's prompts. I know some of you were asking earlier, and so I want you all to scan that QR code. It's going to take you directly to the slides, all right, with every single prompt that you need. I'm going to leave that slide up for a moment. And if you would like, here's the link in the chat. Get your digital download there. And as a reminder, I want you all to come check out my live stream tonight at 7:30 p.m. Geek Talk on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn live. Every Tuesday, season 2 will begin this fall. I am accepting guests for my podcast. So if you are interested, type guest in the chat. So when I save the chat, I know I need to invite you to be a guest on my show. Somebody said they missed the QR code. I'm going back, darling. Here, Katisha, get it, girl. I put the link in the chat. So the link is the QR code, all right? So, Jillian, I think we only have a couple of minutes for some Q&A. What do you think?
Amazing, amazing, Sabrina. Thank you for bringing that energy, that knowledge. We are so thankful for you coming today. So we have a few minutes. The first question I want to get you to answer, just so you can say it one more time. Please remind us of the day that you have your fireside chats inside of Mentor Makers.
Absolutely. Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
Amazing, amazing. So if you are a member of Milestone Circles or have been a participant in Milestone Circles, you should have access to Mentor Makers. If not, and you would like to come join Milestone Circles, you can find that application on our website. Sabrina is one of our amazing, phenomenal cornerstone mentors in Milestone Circles. So that is the first thing that I would like to say. You can find her there. She comes and she mentors the current participants and just all the amazing goodies that she gave you today. And Jillian just dropped the information for Mentor Makers if you have that. I do want to ask one more question. I think it's a good one as we round out today. And someone said, could you please give a few examples of the types of retrospective questions you ask yourself each quarter?
Oh, absolutely. So, number one, did I hit all of my goals the previous quarter? And that is a trigger because AI could then just go back and revisit what you initially asked and then prompt you for what you might have missed in that particular period. I also like to ask it to identify any missed opportunities. That question right there sends my chat scrolling. I mean, it's absolutely amazing when I go into Chat GPT and I start engaging and interacting and just watch it work with you, okay? Not for you, because the human is still in the loop. We wanted to know our style. We wanted to know we're high energy around here and we use certain tones and language and we want to keep it authoritative because we want to know that we sound like we know what we're talking about and so on and so forth. And so I think that is absolutely just a couple of the questions, high level, that would get your AI tool to work with you every single quarter on a rinse and repeat cycle.
Amazing, amazing. So I have one more and then we'll let everyone go. This is a good one too, a little bit to expand on. For founders building marketplace or platform-based businesses that serve multiple customer groups, how do you recommend prioritizing business model validation and early marketing efforts when each audience may have different needs and adoption drivers? And I'm going to put that into the chat as well because that's an amazing question.
It is an amazing question, and I love it so much because I do this. Like on one hat, I am a real estate broker. In another capacity, I'm an IT consultant. And so I can't have one business plan for that, right? So, as a perfect example, I'll state when I started my consulting business, I knew that part of the consultancy would be the IT services and those things, and my books as a product. I didn't need to have books as a product for my real estate company. So that marketing message and that plan for income absolutely would have nothing to do with what the plan for the real estate brokerage looked like. And so I set up two separate GPT projects, y'all. Here's the tech tip you needed. Two separate projects, and then customize that GPT where one is your X business focus and the Y is the second business focus. And then when I log into my GPT, I'm going to this GPT to work on the real estate, or I'm going over to, I call her the geek curator. That's my GPT's name. And that's when I'm geeking out and I'm doing stuff with all the tech talk. I need that information to be high level, very technical. But when I get to the real estate, I need it to give me information at the level of a fifth grader. I hope that helps.
Amazing. Sabrina, on behalf of the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center and all in attendance today, we thank you so much for being here, for being you, for giving us these golden nuggets. This was amazing, fantastic. Yes, this will have a replay after class today. You will get an email if you registered and signed up and you are here, so you did, with all of these amazing goodies and information. You'll find a poll asking you a question. And while you're doing that, I'd like to thank you all for being here today and say that I cannot wait to see you at our additional sessions. We have some amazing things this week for SMBs, product launch, service launch. So come back and get more amazing information. So to everyone, thank you for being here today and have a phenomenal rest of your week. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.